That is in 8 verses. And yes, then I started thinking 8 verses written by the Tulsidas and Ramcharitmanas. That is a voluminous book. I read it only 2 times completely, but then I extracted certain portion of it. So it's a long, but we will focus on the Gita. A simple explanations of the Gita is one Ramcharitmanas, you can say that text. As we discussed that Tulsidas spent about 12 to 13 years, he was a great wrestler during his period. But when he moved because of the incident took place in his life just after the marriage, and he spent about 12 years. Normally it takes about 10 to 12 years to reach to that state. If we are a seeker, we know where we have to go. The time came in my life that now I know what I need to do, how I need to do, leaving aside all the external challenges and the problems. Just in a group session before your session, I was explaining we had a Titanic movie which costed about $200 million long back in 1998. It may be $400 to $500 million. So you have subtle plots and actors and actresses, and the entire movie became a craze. Nobody takes care of the screen behind the movie that does not change. We are drawn to what is changing, what is temporary, what is incidental. Why I said so? What is incidental in us? All the activities of the body, breath, mind, intellect, ego, thought, relationship, reaction, anger, anxiety, money, no money. This is nothing like a Titanic movie in my life. The drama is going on. Drama is going on. And people said, oh wow, what a great way to compare this metaphor. We give too much of weightage, $200 million, $400 million. It has no value. Come on. It has no value. Why you are giving a value? Why you are giving a value? Today you had a reaction against your honey, or you loved, or you had a pleasure, you ate something, or you bought something, or you had more money, or you lost money. Come on, these are the different plots played by the existence. I love you, existence. I love you, Shiva. Finished. Shiva, I don't want you to leave me at any point of time, whatever the play and movie going on in my life. Now I have gray hairs. Just 20 years ago, no. 30, 40 years ago, no hairs at all. Oh, this is what the play is going on in my life. That is where comes the Bhakti. I'm covering those main characters, main journey of this Bhakti Yoga. Some of them you will find in the 8th chapter, 9th chapter, 11th chapter, and 12th chapter is the final consummation of final touch by the Krishna of the Bhakti.
I've found with Bhakti, I've enjoyed. I listen to Sri Ramakrishna's probably every 6 months. I just go through it again. I just can't help myself. But he's very good at prayer, right?
Yeah.
So I like to listen to him to figure out how to speak to God, right? And he's kind of a master at it. So I found myself talking to, Shiva, the Lord, all day, and I realized I can.
Communicate.
I'm not alone in anything, right? And I realized I don't need anyone else. And this is the one relationship that is the ultimate relationship.
Yes. communicate the way you just observe how you communicate with the client, how you communicate with the daughter, how you communicate with the Sophia, how you communicate with the employees. Reflect on it. And every day reflect in the evening, oh, how did I communicate with all these people, relations? How can I shift this communication to the Shiva? And I start communicating every day, mentally and emotionally. That is enough to increase the intensity of this bhakti. So, yes, you just observe. Sometime our mood is so good, and we communicate with our honey just out of compassion and love and care. Now shift this to the Shiva mentally. Shift the same communication. Shiva, are you happy with me? That is what the Ramakrishna teaches. Ramakrishna did not teach, it is the life history. The guy Mahendranath Gupta was just who has written this. The real life events. Now I communicate with the goddess Kali. I asked her, and she told me that Vivekananda is a born yogi. You might have read it, Vivekananda, that Narendranath, whose previous name was there, and he became.
I like hearing how young he's. How he's so different when he's young and aggressive, but he still has it in him. But
yes,
it's fun to see him evolve.
That was Bhakti. You see, that was Bhakti. Not at that level, but I was also a little bit very rational to my master. I said, how do you say that? I don't feel that. I don't believe it. But gradually everything changed. I remember one event my master visited my house in Delhi, which is almost 200 miles from the Himalayan monastery where he used to have. No, I'm coming to your house. So I would say with all humility, I spent all the money which I had in my bank to decorate my house. Outside it is my master is coming. And 200 guests were invited, 200 devotees were invited. I changed almost everything. From the bed, from the chair, no, my chair should be like this. Chair should be of the orange color. I made it a color. What he likes to eat, so that we should serve to that is the part of the bhakti. That is the part of the bhakti.
No, I see that.
I remember those feelings, and I could feel my hair stands when I talk about that. Oh, 200 people, and they were happy, they were enjoying, they were fully absorbed, and my master was giving a talk. He said, no, I will stay overnight in your house. He said, it all belongs to you. So, fortunately, what happened, all the 4 people, my son, daughter, and wife, and me, we all were totally, I would say, devoted to him. Did that change my perspective of life? Answer is big yes. That changed the total perspective of life. It happened almost 3 and 4 times. I said every time I have to decorate, redecorate, throw the old stuff. I have to bring the new stuff.
Did he know you did that?
He knew everything. Do you still have some money? He had that power, He said, do you still have some money to manage your monthly expenses? I said, yes, I have. With your blessing, I have it. So he was very particular in everything, and asking, oh, you have done so much. So it means you have spent so much of money. So it was the response. That is what we are studying. The first group I told you that we are studying primary definitions of the bhakti. Then we will understand what is the characteristics of the bhakti? We are already covering practical aspects of the bhakti. We will also understand the practical methods of the bhakti. What are those practices being used by our great masters? Then we will have advanced understanding of the bhakti. Then we have process of the bhakti development in our as a seeker. And what are the obstacles? These are 6-7 topics that we are going to cover in few more sessions, so that your chapter 8, some of the verses will become clear, and it will also point out to the chapter 12, which is basically understood as the chapter of the bhakti. So, loving devotion. Now I need not to say more about it. You are already there. Loving devotion or reverence towards a deity or maybe Shiva is deeply felt and outwardly expressed. Deeply felt inside? One. Second, outwardly expressed state that fosters a personal, heartfelt relationship with the Shiva or Krishna or any god or goddess Kali. So what happens? It changes my attitude, it changes my behavior, it changes my conduct. It took a lot of time, almost, yes, I would say 3 to 4 years for another guy to reach to that state. It becomes very challenging. How can I have a loving relationship with the Shiva which I have not seen physically? But it's mentally I have to do it.
I think if you catch a glimpse of, I think I've said it maybe 3 times that, oh, it's so near and so
it's so near,
close.
Yes.
And I've felt it, and I think like, oh man, if I could feel, I never felt any love like that in my whole life. Just indescribable, so I know, like, yeah, I didn't see anyone, but I definitely have felt that presence.
Yes.
And what a motivation that can be, right? Even though I'm not chasing that experience, I know it's real. At least I think it's real.
Yeah. What we consider the Titanic movie is real when it is being played on the screen. Fact is that it is not real. Real is the screen. The screen is still intact. Movie comes and goes. But because the mind does not have that level of reality check, and that is why the bhakti helps us to reach to that. And that is why I say bhakti basically is a series of practices. You can add knowledge into it, you can add karma, you can add all the spices. The way you communicate with your honey, you can add that. You can also be upset with what happened, Shiva, why you have done it. Oh, it is all your gift that I'm enjoying. So at any moment, it is the series of the practice. But I always warn people that it is not sentimentalism, it is not sentiments, it is pure emotion. It is a conscious transformation of identity from I, the separate self, to I, the servant and the lover of the Shiva. Here in this way. Separate self is the ego, and the servant or the lover of the Shiva, I am a seeker. It interweaves the wisdom, not the sentiments. It interweaves the service, it interweaves the worship, it interweaves the love that starts flowing towards the Shiva. Without minus attachment, our love outside in the world moves with a sense of an attachment.
Even the gratitude, I was thinking,
yeah, gratitude
my
is
goodness, I was looking at the world, I thought, God gave us eyes to see, and then the most beautiful things to look at. And I was thinking about music and hearing and taste, and I thought like there's so many gifts that we just don't notice, we take for granted.
That is why I picked up the first 6 steps, that we have to accept the favorable element, which I told you that the key that unlocks my heart. My heart is getting carried away by sentiments and emotions and attachments and duality and conflict. So we have to remember, I have to accept the favorable element, consciously choose and commit to spirituality uplifting daily. What that means? Maybe a prayer, mental meditation, study, contemplation, reflection. I have to reject unfavorable elements. Strategically, withdraw from the spiritually harmful influences, distractions, and ego triggering situations. Rani says, "Oh, what the hell? Are you crazy?" Find out your emotions. It is not sentiments. Your emotion flows to the Shiva. Oh, Shiva is manifesting in her, saying that I'm crazy. Yes, I'm more crazy than you think. But how it happens? When you avoid the gossip, harmful media, mindless social media, maintaining silence during negative conversations to preserve mental purity. Here I want to know, I had a session last week with one MIllennials, and we were talking about what is temporary, what is incidental. So change of direction, identity change. I am identified with what is changing. I have to change to what is essential. Shiva is essential with that. So it came to my mind and I said, is internet changing? Yes, internet is also a thing that is temporary, incidental, and keeps on changing. He agreed to it. I said, what is changing is going to stop someday in its name in the form. I asked him, just imagine, only for 1 hour. Only for 1 hour. Again, I'm stressing, only for 1 hour. Internet stops. We cannot have a virtual session. You cannot work on your phone. Your bank account is closed. The entire process, you cannot call anyone, your employees, what happened. You cannot, everything in the external life stops completely. 1 hour. Trillions of the dollars of the economy stops. Now, if you have not taken, now I reach to the personal element. If you do not take the printout, physical printout of your bank account, internet is restored. The bank will claim, no, you didn't have your money. No, I had $100,000. How can you say that? So he asked me, can it happen? I said, I have every possibility that this may happen. And it's not so long. It may happen at any time.
I was just thinking about, as you described that, I'm like, what a great metaphor for consciousness or God element, right? What if you took it out of everything? You'd have nothing but corpses and dead trees, and sun wouldn't shine. Right? So I'm thinking, like, imagine an hour without that. Internet's kind of the similar. It's like the element that supports our whole, economy and function, how we function. Imagine that was just, and the same element that supports all living beings and energy. Is you could turn that off for an hour or two and see what happens. It's interesting.
When we have that perception, everything changes around you in your life. You have a different perception. You have a totally different relationship with your parents, with your family, with the outside, with the business, with the money, with the car you own. with the food that you eat. And sometime it happened to me that I eat hardly half of the bread and I'm full.
I've been experiencing that a lot.
Those changes you will notice that. And she says, no, why you need, I'm full. I don't need that. So it means their consciousness gives you that energy. You don't need that much.
Well, I realize so many unnecessary activities, and maybe eating too much is one, right? But it starts to go, I realize I'm not running around. I'm getting everything done. I'm barely doing anything. I don't even need to work hardly at all, but we find ourselves working all the time. And I thought, I have no urge to go. I have to plan and do it, right? But I don't, there's nothing pulling or pushing me, which is a totally different, it's kind of alarming, I guess, in the beginning, because you realize.
That leads us to the third step. Trust in the divine protection. That is the third point. Cultivate an inner trust that ultimate security comes from the divine Shiva while still maintaining practical responsibility. Let me continue to do whatever I need to do. What is my duty? Finish. That is the third point. The fourth point, accept God as the sole guardian. Can we play any movie without the screen? Can you see the birds flying without the sky? Can you see I am talking and you are listening to me in the absence of the space? Nothing happens to the space. That real. It is not incidental. The same thing, nothing happens to that element which we say the God. Here, which we say the Shiva. So first, soul guardian, and then, okay, if you are the soul guardian, let my thought, speech, action, all the activities be offered to you when you are the soul guardian. The fifth step is that we practice the self-offering, and then the sixth one, how it happens when we cultivate the genuine humility. These are the 6 lamps that keep Bhakti flame alive. We are just understanding the very secret behind it. If I pick up directly the verses from the Gita, then it will not make a sense. But when I say, these 6 lamps, internally, it is internalization. Accept the favorable, reject the unfavorable, trust the divine protection, gratefully recognize the God as a guardian, and there we offer ourselves and maintain that humility. These are the 6. I don't know too much about this master, but he wrote a couple of books, very small books, and very complex words that he used. So I'm not taking too much from him. We will take when we study the chapter 12 of the Gita. Now come that how the intellect should support Bhakti. I'll give you couple of thoughts. Bhakti orientation. Bhakti orientation, it should be Bhakti intellect or Bhakti buddhi. Buddhi means intellect. It comes from the same word from where the Buddha comes. The lens that sees the divine everywhere. It is the buddhi. It is the intellect. So what is Bhakti buddhi? Seeing loving devotion is a primary intelligence. Every decision serves connection with the Shiva. Then there is a prayer buddhi. I'm intentionally using buddhi as an intellect, or you can simply say prayer intellect. Second intellect. Second intellect is it is prayer intellect. First intellect is the Bhakti intellect, which perceives the loving devotion as a primary intelligence. Prayer intellect treats all daily actions as a worship, from cooking to working. from waking up to sleeping. That is a prayer bhakti. My master used to say, and even many masters used to say. I used to say, Master, are you sleeping? No, I am prostrating to my master. My lying down on the bed, I remember this is a prostration to my master. You change your entire perception. It's a prayer intellect. Prasad buddhi. What is prasad? Prasad means whatever I receive in the present circumstances is a prasad buddhi, prasad intellect. Or you can say, whatever I am, I possess, it all is a gift from the Shiva. That is my prasad buddhi. It is the intellect. You see that you invoke the intellect with an emotion. That is why it is not sentimental. Because you don't allow that emotions to become a sentiment and cause you the attachment, reaction, anxiety. No, not at all. And then the self-offering intellect. Another intellect. I picked up this, from so many years of working on this area, and I said, my goodness, it is the intellect always working. So self-offering intellect, and then the upasana intellect. Upasana intellect sitting near the Shiva intellect. Oh, just for a moment I said, oh Shiva, you are with me. You are sitting near me, or I am sitting near you. Okay. Using focused contemplation and worship. Now what happens? The big statement, and that we will take care of these big statements as we continue. The Bhakti intellect. Bhakti intellect means the heartfelt prayer, surrender. The idea is let thy be done. I'm using different phrases which is very common, but it has a deeper implication. Let thy be done. So when I say let thy be done with an emotion, with intellect, with understanding and reflection, will I have an anxiety reaction, duality, conflict? Will I feel tired and fatigued? Have you seen?
Well, the English term is it's thy will be done.
Yeah, thy will be done. Yes.
Yeah, it's the same thing, but
yeah. The same. Prayer intellect. I serve the Shiva alone. I don't serve anyone. I don't serve my customer. My customer is manifesting in the form of a Shiva. My Sophia is manifesting in the form of the Shiva. I am serving Sophia. I am serving everyone. That is the prayer intellect. Gift intellect, or you can say the prasad intellect. Whatever you have given me, thank you, Shiva. I appreciate. I'm using it in your name. Shiva gives the best to me. That is my gift intellect. Self-offering intellect, all belongs to you. Finished. All belongs to you. And upasana intellect, I sit near you, Shiva, all the time. Means whether I'm doing meditation, that is also sitting behind you, sitting near you.
I've been practicing, by your grace and love, I pray that you be near me always. Or I always try to not make it an ego. I notice the art of prayer is subtle, right? I'm sure that obviously Shiva knows what we mean, yes. But I think the way we say it for our own intellect is important, right? Because we're killing our own ego simultaneously.
And the problem is that ego lives in the intellect, bhakti also lives in the intellect, side by side. At any moment, we switch on and switch off. We have to guard ourselves. That is why the genuine humility we discussed about it. And the level of the humility goes up. I gave you that phrase, Shiva in, Shiva as. Shiva in and as, the word of people, relations, things, movement, everything. Everything. Shiva. We understood I am the body identifying with the physical form, age, gender, race. I am an eternal self, longing for Shiva. I am the mind, no. Identifying with the thoughts, emotion, memories, personality, it will turn out to be an ego. But no, I am not the mind. I am the servant of the God. I am your friend, or you are my master. So I have to change my vision from old to the new vision. And it is so simple, factual, truthful. How many waves I see in the ocean? Millions of the waves. So I see the water manifesting as waves. Intellect approves it, fact approves it. So the water in wave and water as wave. So where is the problem? Shiva in the honey, Shiva as honey. So Shiva as honey, so I have to be careful in changing my attitude and behavior and response. And Shiva in the honey means always Shiva. So it's a cognitive shift. First it is the intellectual reasoning. So we contemplate, we begin with a cause and effect relationship to logically establish a spiritual truth. Logic clears doubts and anchors conviction. So I have to, first point is conviction. Intellect must have a conviction. If all matter is temporary and changing, what is the unchanging essence? I'm asking myself. Changing essence, I told you, gave an example of Titanic movie. It is the screen. Titanic movie cannot be permanent. Without reasoning, concepts remain vague and prone to collapse under challenges. You don't understand why honey, always blames and complains me. It remains vague because if I don't reason, so I have to contemplate and reflect. Have I thought this principle through its logical conclusion in different situations, in my business, in my relationship with the honey, with my parents, with a stranger? You will find out, oh, I committed this mistake, but next time I will not do it. Because you always reach to a conclusion, a conviction. We are bound to commit mistakes. We are only seekers. So no problem. No problem. That is the intellectual reasoning. So first point is the intellectual reasoning. Second point is the intellectual understanding. I have put the reason. What reason? Water in wave and water as wave. I have reasoned out. So am I attached to the wave? No. Do I react to the wave? No. That is my understanding. You see, intellectual reasoning, cause and effect, which will lead to conviction, that will enhance and intensify your bhakti. And then intellectual understanding, once I have reasoned, the truth is accepted as a firm guiding principle in the intellect. Are we talking of bhakti? Yes. With the intellect, yes. It is very important. Otherwise, we get carried away and we spend 20, 40 years, no change. Then I have a sense of attachment with the Shiva. I don't have a loving relationship with the Shiva. So I forget it, I remember it, I forget it, I remember it, I blame and I complain. So that sentimental nature does not change. I need an intellectual understanding.
Even the amount of intellectual work we've done to now, I would never have been able to even approach Bhakti, right?
Yes.
It seems essential to me. Well, and maybe the way I was raised and thinking, I wasn't ever raised around religion or spirituality or God or anybody. Right? So it was all very new, and I was 40 years old.
I picked up your intellect, and I said you always put the reason and intellect. So those who put extraordinary reasoning, there is every chance they become spiritual person. They don't recognize in the beginning, but as they process and they progress on this path, I know they are going to be. I know. So you see, first is the intellectual reasoning, second is the intellectual understanding that all beings are manifestation of the same underlying reality. When I have recognized all the waves are nothing but the manifestation of the same underlying reality, water, then what is the problem? I have a conviction. So it creates a reference point in every situation, in every thought, in every reaction that I made, and so that I can retrieve the steps. You know, in modern psychology, it says a cognitive change. Cognition, understanding, knowledge, reasoning. It has all the elements of intellectual reasoning, intellectual understanding, and cognitive change. So cognitive change, the intellect conviction begins changing the perception. Why to fight? Why to unnecessary? You have reacted, why should I react? No need. Let me move in a different direction. That is going to bring the awakening and realization. I just made it very clear. I eat for pleasure and because I am hungry. I eat to maintain this body as a healthy instrument to serve and recognize the Shiva in all its manifestations. I changed my thought, a new motivation. From the old motivation, I have to change to the new motivation, or you can say from the me orientation to the Shiva orientation. That is another way to you put it. Everything, your thought, your feeling, your emotions, and gradually you will see the intensity of the growth that we have it. We picked up last time who I am. Who I am means identity transformation. I am this body? No, I am the Shiva inside, or I am the pure consciousness beyond the physical form. Old and the new. Old and the new. Because in the old, sentiments are there, many millions of impressions are there, the way we have lived our life since our birth and coming from the previous birth, but now we are changing the perception. I am this mind, no. My mind belongs to the Shiva. Mind, you have to only think of the Shiva. You are totally immersed in Shiva. I am these roles, no. I am the part of the infinite. I am these possessions, no. I am love myself. That is what we do. Second part we did it, what I do, what I am, identity, who I am, what I do. Bhakti is a surrender of activities. So who I am is identity, transformation, and what I do, Bhakti is the surrender of activities, daily activities, eating, sleeping, speaking, working, are no longer performed for personal gratification, They are consciously reoriented as acts of Shiva service, as an act of divine service. How? By thinking, but again, intellect. I told you, intellectual reasoning, understanding, cognitive change. We eat for God, sleep for Him, speak for Him, love for Him, go for Him. All the time. All the time. And that
I've seen in the pursuit of Bhakti, I've noticed that all the attention in the me has been totally taken away. Even like you're saying, these roles I play, I realize, oh, like those sort of thoughts seem to have been, I'm more thinking about Shiva and others and Shiva and serving Shiva, but never thinking about this little person. I'm just thinking about a
shift of
how
ideas.
The knowledge
shift of what? By
living.
Understanding. Had I picked up this topic first, you see the master teacher Krishna. He picked up in the 7th chapter. He did not pick up in the first 6 chapters. First 6 chapters, very logical, very understanding. Karma yoga to purify your mind. So your mind is purified. That is why you moved into the 7th chapter so easily. Otherwise you should. So is it my teaching? Answer is no. It is the Krishna's teaching. He knows that if you have absorbed the essence of the first 6 chapters, 7th chapter is for you. That is the beauty. So every master of the Eastern wisdom says that knowledge is already there. Knowledge is Shiva, knowledge is Krishna, knowledge is Goddess Kali in case of Ramakrishna Paramhans, or in case of Nisargadatta Maharaj, it is pure consciousness. In case of Raman Maharshi, you see, we have nothing to worry. You get it very good. You don't get it very good. Knowledge is still there. It is not that, I taught you. Why should I teach you? I'm just passing on the way I have understood, I have experienced in the life. Coming to the next point here is the dancing with the Shiva. In your case, in my case, how I have to dance with the Shiva? I transform the mind through loving devotion. I transform the mind, me, me, me. There are 2 things, I-ness, capital I-ness, and my-ness, M-Y, my-ness. My-ness causes the attachment, I-ness causes the ego. And there we have to ask the mind to sing with the Shiva. Do not sing with I-ness and mine. I'm just making a statement that will appeal to you. Singing with an orchestra or truly feeling devotion. Comparison. Bhakti is like tuning your radio. Instead of picking up a static, you catch a divine melody. Bhakti is like tuning your radio. Oh, my mind. Oh, I have done this. No, not I have done. Shiva has done this. Tune it. Tuning. Bhakti is a loving devotion, but not mere emotion or ritual. It is about deep engagement, humility, and surrender. Why the path of the Bhakti? Why the dance with the Shiva? I told you the Tulsidas leaping for his wife and then transforming his passion to the spiritual quest. And he reached to that. He is very famous. He is extremely famous throughout India.
I've been reading the Ramchitmanas in English. It's very captivating.
It's very
I read a handful of hours and I can't put it down whenever I do. It seems to speak to like some other part of you, or so. It's very, I can't put my finger on it, but it's very poetic.
Ramcharitmanas is a text that puts the bhakti into action. It says that how you should behave the way the Rama behaved, how you should not behave the way the Ravana behaved. It gives you different characters. It separates two types of characters. One is purely worldly and one is a seeker, and one is the Siddha, the perfect. So the behavior and attitude comes from the Rama, who is a perfect reincarnation. Rama is also the Krishna. Krishna is also the Shiva. But here the Rama presents himself that how you should live your personal life, your professional life, your social life, your family, including the family life. So how it means that how the bhakti should come down to the mundane level in your daily thought, speech, and action. That is what we will talk about it. So we have to, it means what are the takeaway? The true devotion requires knowledge, not just the emotion. I have to not forget it. Otherwise, I will fall into the trap of ego, sentiments, and it will take long time to reach to that state. Remember all the time. Second takeaway, we can say that your daily relationship are the real practice. Your daily relationship with the Shiva at that particular moment, at this moment, at the moment when you are communicating with the world outside. So daily relationship is the real
That's where I've
practice.
seen that change, the biggest shift, and I think, oh, that's proof, right? Anything else, I could say I'm peaceful and yogi and come home and kick my dog. It doesn't really matter. But I've seen like, oh, I'm like calm right now, and this would never have happened, And it's like, wow, that's amazing. Well, I'm gonna keep going, keep practicing.
And then what you said, the third takeaway, that you can tune your mind away from the negativity and delusion instantly. Instantly. It doesn't take time. You can change, you can shift. And the ultimate goal is the surrender, not self-improvement. In the modern era, we say self-improvement, self-progress. No, self-offering, self improvement. No, self-improvement is a byproduct of bhakti. Our goal is not self-improvement. Our goal is to how the Shiva should manifest in my thought, speech, and action every day in my everyday living. So it means Shiva is changing me. I'm not looking after the self improvement. Then what happens? Another takeaway, bhakti is not more, bhakti is more than a feeling. More than a feeling means it is a truth, it is real. I'm approaching very near to the Shiva. And what is another? So, what all the takeaways summarizes? You shift your inner, you shift your reality. You shift your reality. You shift your reality. That reality is shifted now. Reality is shifted. Now, bhakti, I have added specifically, bhakti as a mental dwelling. We have to understand this dwelling word. It's a cognitive behavioral process, if you say.
Excuse me, I need to let this technician in. Give me 1 second. Okay. I'll be right back.
Person. So, in this mental dwelling, I'm repeating but in a different way that is very important. It follows the, I would say, let us take it three stages. First is the cognitive understanding. What is that cognitive understanding? It means the intellectual reasoning. The seeker must grasp the core philosophical concepts before they can be internalized. So, any point your mind has a doubt, you are free to ask, remove the doubt. Just take an example. Last time we covered the 8 verses on the Shiva. So it is employed not merely as a devotional text, but as a cognitive tool. This technique systematically it deconstructs a concrete visual Shiva's form into an abstract. Then you can feel. You see the statue of the image of the Shiva there, and now you see Om Namah Shivaya. So there is a live appearance of the body. You get rid of that image. You see the feeling. You see the image. It is purely a psychological process to challenge and expand, to challenge our old belief. Oh, that is the first cognitive understanding. I created a beautiful, I improved upon it, even though I created something from the perplexity, and then I changed, added something which I'm going to send you the 8 verses so you can look at it and you read it and absorb, remind yourself. The second one is the cognitive shift. First, I have a cognitive understanding, then the cognitive shift is there. Now you see, it is purely an intellectual. What do you mean by? So, cognitive shift, the central cognitive shift that the practice is designed to produce is the movement from an ego-based, attached perspective to one of universal love and acceptance. So there is a cognitive shift. So what happens after the cognitive shift? I created an acronym, ABC model. A means attitude, B means behavior, C means conduct. So when I check and understand that my attitude, behavior, and conduct are changing, and I feel, as you experience, the feel of energy, relaxation, calmness, nothing to worry, no worries at all. Obviously, there is a 3 changes in my behavior. Behavior, attitude, the cognitive shift first alters the individual core outlook, means our attitude, the lens through which I view the world. Instead of reacting impulsively, I, as a seeker, learns to respond thoughtfully with compassion instead of ego with the humility. Attitude is known as bhava. You might have read in many texts, they talk of bhav, B-H-A-V-A, bhava. Behavior, this behavior means this is the new attitude. First attitude change, then comes the behavior.
Do they say like Mahabhava? Isn't that like universal love though? Does again Bhava mean love or devotion or anything?
So here you just take it as an attitude. So attitude roughly translates into the bhava. The new attitude, behavior, manifest in altered behavior, action across personal, professional, and family life changes. That is my behavior. And conduct. So over time, these new behavior transforms into the mode of the conduct. Now I change. Mundane activities like eating and working are reframed as act of service. It changes. This is all the 3 steps includes under the mental dwelling. mental dwelling, but we have to apply daily in our life. Mental dwelling is also a radio tuning analogy. I gave you that metaphor, radio tuning. Oh, you have made this breakfast, mind dislike it, so mind has a different expression, and now you tune it. No, this is good. Let me take it. Eat to live, live to eat. Those cognitive shifts must take place in our life to bring about ABC model into action. Same thing applies to interpersonal application in our relationship. Why happens? What happens? You internal barriers. You recognize those internal barriers of the ego. You recognize, you see them, you feel them, and you have a tool to change. What is the most important? I never saw this, but majority of our masters say, what the masters say, it can change the prarabdha. Bhakti is the only practice by the seeker that can change the prarabdha. Knowledge, karma yoga, no. Prarabdha can also be changed. So if you analyze the very process of mental dwelling, it addresses the root level of my ignorance. Root level of my ignorance. Most spiritual practices work on behavior or emotion. This practice works directly with the identification itself. Oh, this is my identification, I have to change it. Let me reason out. Second point, it is a continuous practice. You have to follow it continuously. You have not to leave at any moment. It develops a witness consciousness. That is what we get in meditation. And it naturally purifies. It naturally purifies. So you can say recognition, choice, preference, natural state. Natural state. That it leads to that dwell in scarcity. What happens when I dwell in scarcity? I experience the lack of something. When I experience the lack of something, but why? My ego, because of the limitation. I dwell in fear. I experience the danger. I dwell in separation. I experience the loneliness. I dwell in divine love. I experience the unlimited joy. I experience in divine love, Bhakti, instead of scarcity. Divine is there for me. He will take care of me. He is taking care. He will take care. He has taken care in the past. But that must come with a conviction. Mental dwelling. If I dwell on the problems, I become a problem magnet. That is what happened to you a couple of months before. You express, I don't want to repeat that, I remember. You dwell on gratitude, you become naturally blessed. You dwell on service, you become an instrument of the divine will. You dwell on the God of Shiva, you become godlike. That is why I picked up this mental dwelling. The mind becomes the temple of the Shiva. And if it becomes a temple of the Shiva completely, that is also known as the realization in Bhakti Yoga. Complete. Another point that I'll take another 5 minutes, I want to complete it. Bhakti is destroying the delusion. The nature of the attachment, delusion, attachment, infatuation represents one of the most fundamental obstacles on the journey of the self-discovery. It's a powerful weapon of what is? This delusion is a powerful weapon of the Maya or ignorance that creates three primary forms of spiritual bondage: delusion, ownership of the delusion, permanence of the delusion. I am explaining I-ness and my-ness in a different way. It is the same thing, but operates at three levels. Identify the delusion. What is that? Identity of the delusion. Moha, false identification. I am this body. I am this mind. Ownership of the delusion. It generates a sense of myness, my wife, my son. Permanence of the delusion. Permanence, the illusion that temporary objects are permanent, and that creates the problem. And now we have to see how the Bhakti destroys this. Identity transformation through the divine service. I'm serving Shiva. You are eating, one master used to say, okay, are you Krishna in Srimad Bhagavatam? That is another text where Krishna was eating. That's Krishna interaction with the world outside with different people. That is the story of Srimad Bhagavatam. Another voluminous text, it more than 1,500 pages.
I inadvertently bought the commentary of Srila Prabhupada's on the.
Srimad Bhagavatam. Okay.
I got a box of like 25 books.
Yeah, okay, 25.
Oh boy,
yes,
that's quite a commentary. So I know all too well. I just got that in the mail. I was like, I didn't realize what that was.
Yeah, so sometimes we confuse Srimad Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam.
No, Bhagavatam, yeah. It's the commentary on the Srimad Bhagavatam. It's like 15 volumes.
Yes, okay, you got it. Okay.
It's that.
Yes.
Because I've been listening, I've heard, listening to the pastimes of Shiva and Krishna. So I've been trying to find places where I can experience, kind of like you were saying with the Ramachamanas.
Yes,
The story element. Teaching through it, and getting the personified version of the deities. I find it to be I've just never experienced anything like it, so I've been, it's something different.
And in Ramcharitmanas, we have different pointers, places where the Rama traveled across India. So it proves that Rama was not a character of this Ramcharitmanas, but he was a real person. We had a birthplace of the Rama where 60 million tourists visited last year from across the globe.
That's a lot.
From across the globe. And it was renovated. That is known as Ayodhya. Ayodhya is one of the great tourist spiritual destinations. So identity transformation through this service. I am an eternal soul serving God. Change from material identity to a spiritual identity, where the delusion creates the delusion. I am the doer of actions. Bhakti cultivates the understanding that God is the doer. Shiva, you are the doer. I am the instrument. That is what Ramakrishna always talks about. That I am an instrument. Oh, you are the master. Ramakrishna advises.
He always says, well, if God willing, but I can't say yes or no. I can never say yes or no, but I'll ask. And if it happens, and I think wow, that's amazing to be like that.
So from attachment to the devotion, instead of attachment, which also creates a kind of a pleasure, but here devotion The pleasure in devotion is eternal, it is always available. And attachment in the pleasure is temporary. Attachment to a particular fate, 10-15 minutes of eating the food, and after that the pleasure is gone. So
I read. I was gonna say I read something. I think it was Srila Prabhupada.
Yeah.
I think that's his name. He was talking about the dharma of man is to serve, right? And he had examples of, we serve our customers, we serve our children, we serve our parents, right? But he's obviously leading to, the ultimate dharma is serving the Lord. And I was like, oh, I kind of, I like the way you put that. I could see that, how it's human nature to serve, right? But the ultimate service is to the Lord, and if we can get there.
Yes.
Oh, okay. That's interesting. I like that.
Put that purely into an intellectual format. On this topic of removing the delusion, the first stage is the recognition. I should recognize I'm deluded. That's why I'm reacting. I'm into anxiety. That's why I'm reacting. I'm eating for this body. This is all about recognition. The second stage is experiential glimpses. I switch on. I shift. From the recognition. Here is the delusion. Here is the bhakti. So I shift. Experiential glimpses. No, let me shift. If I start thinking I'm eating for the Shiva, does any change take place? Yes. I get rid of the attachment to the body. Third stage, I maintain the consistent awareness. Fourth stage, natural state comes. I feel energy now. Why to worry about it? Why to worry about it? Why to worry about anything? And that is what leads us to intensity on this journey of meditation. It doesn't mean that we